Welcome to Quick 3D Tutorials. Today's video I will show you how to use the layer shader. And the layer shader is a shader you can mix two different shaders together by an alpha channel, which is a black-white image. You can also blend more in tree. Let's see if you have tree shader, but that is not be a shader, but that's going to be a texture. So in this case, I have also put in kind of light to see it, what I mean with it. We're talking about this later. And for the people using Arnold, there are another version of Arnold shader, which is, I think, AI shader, AI mixing shader. So you can mixing two or more into different shader together. That's going to be in the next video. So now we're going to the HiBiShade. And here we have three different shader. One is the red color and yellow and blue. So we want to start by 1 and 2 mixing this together by alpha channel. So to do this, we can find and press on the Maya and type layer shader, and here we have the layer shader. So if you have your if I just middle mouse click and drag it here, if you have your shader here, so you can actually middle mouse and click and drag it to this, you can do this. And if you don't want to do this, you can also from here find it and middle mouse click and drag and drop it here also. So that is a two-way you can do this. When you have do it, make sure you're deleting the green channel. So now we have mixing these together. But there are one thing important we need to know. The first one, we need actually break the transparency and put the alpha channel here, which is a black-white image, and not in the second one. That is very important. That is kind of like layer. So we are starting by number 1, right click on it, break connection, and click on this and find the file we want. And in this case, I think I have just making a black-white, very simple. I'm going to choose this. And now we can click on this, on the plane, and right click on this and assign material to selection. So now you can see we have, if I just go to the Arnold actually supporting, but it is a lot of sky dome light I have here. So it's going to be very light. But if we're taking a look to the software, it's going to be a bit less. And that is glossy effect we're getting from the shader, and I will say why I have just do it. So I will show you if you blending the tree, it's not working like shader, but it works like texture. So that is the first one. And now I want to mix tree shader, which is I can't with the layer shader. But you can do this by Arnold AI Mix Shader. So that is going to be the same principle. Now this layer shader 2 have these two different color shader on it. So the next thing is the same, but we're going to blend this one with a blind tree. So we're going to clean this up and get another layer shader. And we're going to the layer shader 2, which we have a creating, which is a mixing, and middle mouse click and drag it here. I'm going to the plane tree and middle mouse click, drag it here, and going to deleting it. And that is the same, selecting the first one, right click in this and break connection, go to the file, and in this case I have another, I think it was M3. I think, yeah, just very simple one that is on the pot, and I just putting it on. The important thing is your layer shader, if you putting it on this, you will not get it like mixing right. You need to put it to the texture. When we have it, so now we can just select the plane and go to the tree, layer shader 3. And assign the selection. As you can see, now I get the red, and the yellow and the blue. So if I go to the render, so you can see it here, but if we rendering by Arnold, I don't know if you can see the image, it is not the same. So it is only 2 color he has done. So that is something you need to know if you're working with another render engine. Yes, so there are something I will say why we have changing it to be layer texture and why it's not working like shader. That is because if I going to number 3 here, I'm playing with this, so there are not so much of the shiny there, and I just take a look to it. I don't want to do this by Arnold, that is a software. Here we are. So you can see now we have the blue, but they are like a shiny or blink shader on the other. So let's see, I want to change the red. So what is going to be happened? I think it was number 1. If I going and change this out, it's going to not changing this, but it's going also change the other. So if we render it once again, so you can see now the going to mixing these two, but they can mix the diffuse or the color information, but they cannot mix like really these 3 shaders together. But that is another way if it is important for you only the color, so you can do this, but it is not a really a mixing shader which have 3. So that is only the 2, but kind of it. In the next video I will talking about how you can use the Arnold AI shader to mix more into shader together. Thanks for watching.